This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN, a virtual private network service that can hide your IP address and keep your information safe. If you'd like to find out more about why you should be using one and how to get 83% off and 3 extra months for free, stay tuned until the end of the video. As with most sci-fi action films, VFX is present throughout the entire movie, especially when the starring role is played by something that doesn't exist. Bumblebee is a prequel to the previous Transformer movies and is set back in the 1980s. Approximately 1,500 shots were needed for the movie. 400 coming from Industrial Light and Magic, whilst the remaining coming from Cantina Creative's Scanline FX, Rodeo FX and VFX. In order for actors to be able to interact with Bumblebee realistically, a full-size head, upper torso and arms were made to be used on set. This way, actors knew where to look and talk, and the director could correctly frame Bumblebee in each shot. This also enabled the leading actress to be able to hug and caress Bumblebee without losing the emotion. Although a lot of painstaking work matching shadows, locking down tracked objects, and simulating bounce light was still needed. The design team couldn't just use Transformers from the 21st century films in this 1980s prequel. They had to start anew, basing their design on the original toys and cartoons from the era, but also the graphics and technology of the 80s. This revamping or devamping was also necessary for the aesthetics of the holograms, the HUD vision, the HUD vision, and the Autobots' semi-sentient computer system. With a main character who doesn't speak, can't really move his face, and doesn't even have a mouth, how do you express emotion? Well, the VFX team had to use the only things available to them. His eyes. They added dozens of controls to each eye, giving the animations every advantage possible. The animators studied old movies that had mute characters in as a base to build on. In some scenes they mimicked the leading actress's own eye expressions, which gave the impression of Bumblebee reacting to her. They even tried to project Bumblebee's personality through the fight scenes too, reasoning that being smaller and quicker, he'd probably rely more on dodging and takedowns to bring the bigger bots down to his level. And seeing as we're talking about all the details that make up a character, let's talk about all the bits of data that make up your digital footprint online. You see, every time you connect to a website, it will need to know your IP address to know exactly where to send the data you're asking for, so your IP address needs to be visible because of this. However, websites can exploit this information and use it to send you more targeted publicity by tracking your IP address. Your IP address reveals what internet service provider you're with and other info such as your geolocation. Some websites like Netflix, YouTube, HBO, or Disney, to name a few, use this information to block certain content, which can be frustrating if you travel and want to keep up to date with your favorite series. However, Surfshark VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network, is a trusted service that allows your computer to connect to the internet through their network. This means that not only can they encrypt your internet data for you, but they can also hide your IP address and let you choose what country you want websites to think you're coming from. So if you're interested and want 83% off and 3 extra months for free, sign up today and use code FameFocus. You're welcome. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and don't forget the links to the music used in this video are in the video description, and as always, be sure to let us know in the comments sections below which movie VFX you'd like to see behind next.